Hello out there in podcast land. This is Julie Ramey, the Community Relations Manager for the City of Bloomington Parks and Recreation Department, back here in the podcast studio with another fabulous guest. With us in the studio today is Marissa Calabrese. She is a natural resource education specialist, which sounds like it'll barely fit on your business card. But Marissa, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
So we were talking earlier today about opportunities that Bloomington Parks and Recreation here in Bloomington, Indiana, all of the opportunities that exist for, especially for kids, for all people, but especially for children. And that's your area of expertise, natural resources education, especially as it applies to children.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I've been having a lot of fun with it so far. It's been great.
We talked about, and you mentioned something earlier that really struck me, and that is this concept of experiential education. Now, here in Parks and Recreation, we have had for at least the past decade a immersive experiential environmental education program called Leonard Springs Nature Days, followed on the heels by Griffey Lake Nature Days, where every sixth grade student in the Monroe County Community School Corporation system and every fourth grader in MCCSC get to go to Leonard Springs Nature Park and or Griffey Lake Nature Preserve. And this is really cool for you because you remember going there as a sixth grader.
Yeah, I do. It was awesome. Yeah, I feel like a lot of my memories from elementary school were specifically on like field trip days where I was getting to experience different things. And Leonard Springs Nature Day was one of those that has stuck with me for a really long time.
Tell us about this concept of experiential education.
Yeah, so experiential education is just, in my eyes, getting to experience and interact with whatever you're learning about. So when it comes to nature, just like using your senses, getting to see something, feel something, smell something, experience something, or experience a place. I feel like kids get a lot more out of that when they're in a place that they're learning about, or they're in an environment that they're learning about, because they can apply what they're learning to what's right in front of them. Classrooms, I feel like, kind of dim those curiosities and imaginative habits that kids have, and nature just really gets them to engage with what's in front of them. And I love getting to see it. They get to experience the nature how they want to, and that's what I love about my job.
Well, as a station facilitator, that's what I have done at Leonard Springs Nature Days on several occasions. A group leader or a station facilitator, I'm often really surprised by the number of students who come to Leonard Springs who really, it's their first time in the woods.
Yeah. It's interesting to see how many different perspectives come in for the nature days. There are kids who have been there before and they know all the plants, and then there are kids that are there who have never been in the woods before or never gone on a guided hike before. So it's really fun to not only see all the different perspectives, but see how the kids learn from one another as we're doing this. We go from station to station together. Kids will help one another. They get to see things, point things out to one another. That's part of experiential learning, is the people as well that you're with, for sure.
And being outside in a park is so immersive, and you really have the opportunity to use all your senses. So especially in the fall months and in the spring months of Leonard Springs Nature Days, when the fashionably underdressed sixth graders get to experience the weather, the true Indiana weather, there's the sounds, the sounds of the birds and squirrels and the wind in the trees and the sight of the falling leaves. So that's probably a big part of really any education program, is just being able to touch and hear and see and smell.
Yeah, that's why I like Leonard Springs a lot, because my memory was going to see the different caves there, and now I get to teach the cave station and get to like bring those kids into the cave and let them see it just small groups at a time. And that's something that the public doesn't necessarily get to do. They get a special opportunity, and so those moments mean a lot to me because I remember them for myself.
Yeah, very true. The caves at Leonard Springs are closed for the protection of the animals in the cave and from people that would wander accidentally or fall accidentally into the cave. So this is a really unique opportunity for sixth graders. And it's probably worth mentioning that you mentioned the word field trip earlier, but this isn't just all goofing off all day. This is science standards.
Yeah, it meets a lot of different curriculum requirements, which is great. So each station, while it's about maybe a different habitat or a different animal, they're getting to experience things and have a good time, but also learning. So the experiential education comes into play because they're associating whatever they're doing at that station with what they're learning and what they're doing, and can take that home to their parents and be excited about it. It's great.
And I have seen the look of joy on the faces of the teachers too when facilitating, for example, the forest station. And I'll mention, all right, everyone, what's the circumference of a circle, and how do you figure out the circumference if you know the radius? And when they raise their hands and they know diameter and they know circumference, you can just see the teachers going, hooray!
They can apply what they learned in the classroom to the field.
They have just applied it.
Yes, it's great to see that in real time for sure.
So is there something that is your favorite when it comes to sharing your knowledge of nature and the natural world and natural systems? What do you like most to share with young people?
I personally love to get kids excited about birds because whether they can see them or not, they can usually hear them. And there's a new tool that I love showing to kids, Merlin Bird ID, and it's so easy and accessible to get people excited about birds. So I've been loving introducing that tool to kids, especially hearing things instead of necessarily just seeing them, practicing using just one sense rather than all of them at the same time. So I really like teaching kids about birds because there's so many different ways to do that. And I also really like teaching kids about the nature and trees that are around them. If we're sitting underneath a tree for a lesson, I'm going to take a moment to be like, look at this tree above us. It's a sycamore, and you can tell because the bark looks like this, and this plant is growing near this creek because it needs this X, Y, and Z. Those are just extra little things that I think make a difference in experiential education. Just getting them excited about things that I'm excited about. They see that I'm excited and they want to feel that way as well. And I get excited about birds and trees.
And what a great way to mesh technology, which by the time kids are sixth graders, a lot of them have some kind of a device. Yeah. And so there's apps like the Merlin Bird ID or iNaturalist
or for
Outer Spatial, Parks and Recreation's own mobile app. So there's all kinds of ways to integrate what maybe we assume kids know a lot about with the natural world and make them even more excited about it.
Yeah, building that reciprocity for nature is my main goal usually when I'm with kids. Teaching them respect and love for the environment is the most of what I want to get out of each visit I have with a classroom or a different group for Nature Day, something like that. I just want them to understand that they can love it. It doesn't have to be just something that they go and see with their family, oh, I'm going on a hike. It's something you can look forward to and remember and think about for however long you want to think about it.
Yeah, and you don't have to go on a hike. You get to go on a hike.
Yeah. Changing the language and the stigma behind going outside. Nature doesn't have to be something that's grandiose. It can be your backyard. It can be a sidewalk on the side of the road that has little dandelions popping through the cracks. It can be a bird that just is sitting on your windowsill asking you to bring it food, even though it probably shouldn't be. Things like that, the small things, the moss that's growing on a rock in your front yard, something like that. Nature is anything you want it to be, and I think kids can really find more out of nature using their imagination and curiosity. And I would love for adults to be able to do that as well. Just let their brain run wild in nature, like how kids do.
And we have found that when kids are introduced to parks like Leonard Springs, which is on the kind of the west side of Bloomington, that some of them even go home and mention it to their parents and go out to the park on a family trip, maybe someplace the kids get to introduce their family to something new.
Yeah, it's great whenever they're like, oh my gosh, I get to go home and tell my family about this cool fact that I learned today. Or they always like the most random facts is what I find, like the most obscure things, like woodpeckers wrap their tongue around their brain when they peck on trees. The kids really like that one.
I seem to recall too that the a vulture's defense mechanism is a favorite.
Oh.
So when startled, a vulture will vomit.
Oh, that is news to me. That's funny.
Very exciting. And that's something that kids love to talk about, vomit, for whatever reason.
Sure. Yeah, there's always something.
What's a surprising thing in your experience? Is something surprising that a child, a young person has pointed out to you or talked about, or something you've seen them learn at a program, one of the programs that you've created? And anything stick out as an aha moment, either for you or for someone in a program?
I really like just seeing moments when kids can apply something that they've heard in their classroom or just like grew up hearing around them. And then they can apply it when we're in the field. So a lot of kids remember what kind of rock we have in Indiana. I can ask any kid about any age in Bloomington what kind of rock we have, and they'll say limestone, and I can point it out while we're on a hike. I think it's great that kids of any age know random things like that and can carry that with them. Even if it might seem insignificant, it is something that they remember and they can associate with a place. And that's what I really enjoy seeing. Just their perspective of things, or literal perspective. Like, kids will be a lot closer to the trail than you are. They're a little bit lower to the ground. They're going to notice all those spider webs. They're going to notice all the little critters running around in the grass that you can't maybe see. Both like physical perspective and just how they view things in general. I just love to learn more about. They always have something to notice that I haven't already.
Introducing kids to nature and to our city park system is crucial in that these are the kids that are going to grow up using, hopefully, our parks, and as adults looking back on them like you do, with fond memories and protecting them. So what's part of what's your message when we're going out in parks and you're talking about, learning and exploring and this whole attitude of discovery? What do you hope kids take away from being at an environmental education program?
I think keep asking questions is what I want to tell kids, because the more curious you stay, the more willing you are to learn about new things. And with the kind of technology that we have today, it's never been easier to get answers to questions. So lean into that. Like, use those resources like Merlin, like Outer Spatial, like iNaturalist, use Google. It's a great way to learn more and keep yourself excited, because as soon as you learn about one thing that excites you, you're going to find more. So just keep asking questions. Stay curious when you're outside. I love just looking at things that you normally wouldn't notice. Yeah. I love being outside and just getting other people excited about seeing things. So staying curious, keep asking questions.
And there's so much more out there than birds, and rocks and trees, and let's go even farther. There's weather, there's clouds, there's all kinds of other things in the natural world that really can appeal to anyone. So as adults and kids, how can we as humans sort of rekindle a connection with nature? And it's probably timely to say at this particular time, as we're recording this podcast, it is wicked hot outside.
Yeah.
It is a typical Indiana summertime. It's really super humid and hot, and everyone's running inside to the AC. So sometimes we flee the outdoors when it feels uncomfortable to us. But how can we grow to appreciate and sort of rekindle this sense of wonder and discovery?
So I like to tell people to start off with where they're comfortable. If that means watching a nature documentary in your living room, do that. If that's what gets you excited about nature, that's great. You don't have to be holding a spider to like nature. You can go outside and walk on a trail if that's something new to you. And you can go and you can just people watch in a park. I think a lot of people like to define nature in their own way, and that's okay, but I feel like a lot of people don't realize that that's the normal. Not everybody has the same definition of nature. Make it what you want it to be. You can sit outside in your yard and wear headphones. You don't have to be listening to the birds. Maybe the crickets annoy you. Whether it's just like the space you're in, what you're listening to, you can tune in a little bit more. You can change your background on your laptop screen at work to be a mountain. Just little pieces of nature throughout your day, whether it's small or big. You can really work your way up to doing whatever you want. Bloomington is a great place for accessible nature, whether it's downtown and local parks or a little bit further out of town and going on hikes and excursions deeper into the woods. There's so much to do. Bloomington has no limits when it comes to nature, which I love so much. So I just want people to understand that they can get outside and it will be nature wherever you are, as long as you consider it that in your head.
No wrong way to enjoy nature.
No wrong way.
That's
None
fantastic.
Yeah.
And that's a great message to leave you with. So get out there, check it out, explore your city park system. We've mentioned our fabulous mobile app, Outer Spatial. It is available in the Google and Apple stores. It is a free download, and it has maps of all of our park's trails, locations of things that are important, like shelter houses and drinking fountains and bike racks, and also lists of parks and recreation programs and activities. So find us on Outer Spatial, all of our city park systems. This is Julie Ramey with the City of Bloomington, Indiana Parks and Recreation Department. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Recreation Rendezvous. Give us a like, a follow, a share, whatever floats your boat. And remember to find us wherever you find your favorite podcast. On behalf of the City of Bloomington Parks and Recreation Department, a big shout out to Caleb Poor, who is our audio engineer and podcast wizard. It makes this and all of our other podcasts sound amazing. Marissa, thank you so much for being in the studio with us today.
Julie.
Until next time, we will catch you in a city park right here on Recreation Rendezvous.